but we'll go with Mr. Vikas Gupta.
Okay, so the first question is about the scripture, the prophecies in Hinduism. Now, to better understand this question, we first need to take a look at what Hinduism is. And as I explained the concept of Hinduism and how we follow Hindu religion and the scriptures, you would get an understanding of whether prophecy has a place in it or not, which we, in our opinion, it does not. So starting with Hinduism, so practice of Sanatan Dharma. Hinduism is nothing but a practice of Sanatan Dharma, which is thousands of years old. And to explain further, Sanatan Dharma is, Sanatan means eternal and Dharma means law. So it's an eternal law which actually dictates how we live in the universe and how our life is connected with the broader celestial body and everyone around us. Now, Hindu in the geographical context is actually made of Himalayas and Indian Ocean. So if you take He and Hindu from it, so that's the geographical context of Hinduism. And further explaining on it, so Hinduism is the term that was coined in 18th century by people who came to India. And then at that time, the indigenous people of India are practicing Sanatan Dharma. So as we talk about prophecy or as we talk about scriptures, we need to understand the Sanatan Dharma in its true sense to gain a further deeper purpose of what we do and where we are in the universe. Now, this eternal law, which is Sanatan Dharma, dictates how do we conduct our life on earth with virtue, with consciousness, and in tune with the universe. And that's the ultimate goal of the Atma, the soul that is within you, and how that soul has a purpose of nothing but to merge with the Brahman, which is the Paramatma and the universal truth. So with that in mind, eternal law is nothing but your life is your own making. As I go further through the content, you will see the prophecy in Hindu scriptures is though there's an understanding of different cycles of the life of the time, but whatever you go through and whatever you are suffering, good or bad, is your own making. And in that aspect, the purpose of Sanatan Dharma is the reincarnation. So the soul that continues to be reborn until it reaches the ultimate goal of its liberation. And liberation is the mukti, the freedom, and merging with the Brahman. So the soul that's within us, we continue to take birth in the physical world on earth until we actually find a way to merge our soul and free it up so it can go and merge with the Brahman. And how do we do that? This whole cycle of rebirth is actually dictated by the law of karma. And the law of karma is that, as I just mentioned, your life is your own making. And karma, the karma of your previous lives, or in fact, the karma that you're accumulating even now in your current life, continues to carry over as you continue to take birth. And until you have dissolved all the karmas that you have accumulated or are accumulating, your soul will continue to take birth on the physical realm. And finally, it will attain liberation when all the karmas are dissolved. And the inclusiveness. The Supreme Being, that's an important part of Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma, is regardless of the race, the religion, or gender, everyone has the ability to attain this moksha. In fact, if you're not a believer in God, you don't even believe in God, you can still practice Sanatan Dharma, you can still be a Hindu. So in that aspect, there's no one prophecy, there's no one particular way of following Hinduism. Everyone, like we have 33 million deities, so everyone can have their own way of practicing Sanatan Dharma because you're on an individual journey and your ultimate goal is to liberate your soul and merge with the universe. So now going back to the first question about prophecy, we have to look at how in Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma we perceive time. So for us, time is nothing but a cyclicality. It's not a linear time where we continue to live and one day there's an apocalypse and we all die. That's not how we see of the time. And the time is based on the celestial organization of the planet, the moon, the sun, and our place in the solar system and the bigger universe. So if you just allow me a moment, the Earth is tilted on its axis, and as Earth is rotating around the sun, the precision of the equinox, which we call this axis, the main center axis of the Earth, and the tilt that makes this circle, the cone, and the time it takes for Earth to go and complete this circle is how it dictates the yugas, the eras that we all live in. And there are four Chatur Yugas that we say that the human life goes through. In fact, all the physical world goes through, starting with the Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. On the right, you see that. So these are the cycles that the whole universe goes through. And to further explain on the yugas, Satya Yuga is the first one where is the highest virtue. There's wisdom, everyone follows the religion, everyone has a path, there's moral values, and it lasts for 1.7 to 8 million years. Treta Yuga, where vice is introduced and is a little bit less corrupt, and there's a slight decline in the values. And then that's where the Rama avatar is born. And the Dwapara Yuga is again further decline in the virtue and religion, and that's where Krishna avatar was born. And finally, we have Kali Yuga, which is the strife, the ignorance, the religion, the vice that we are struggling in the physical world today. And that's where the Kali Yuga is where we are living in the in present. And that time is supposed to be around 4.3 to 432,000 years, and we are at the beginning of it. And that's where the Kalki avatar will be born. So, and to sum it up, the spirituality, like how your soul has to merge with Brahman, the spirituality through these yugas decline. And we are in the Kali Yuga where spirituality is at this minimum. And now there will be a rebound of it, and we will repeat the cycle. And that's the cycle of Brahman. So that's how Hinduism see prophecy. It's based on the yugas and how your life is your own making. Thank you.
Whenever you're ready.
Any remaining prophecies to be fulfilled in the future. So as I answer this, to quickly recap, we talked about 4 Chatur Yugas and 8 cycles of that, Satyuga, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is where we are in the present moment. And to further talk about Kali Yuga, let me quote Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which was written about 5,000 years ago. And quoting a verse from Bhagavad Gita 12:1, it says, Sri Sukha Yuvacha Tatas Kanu Dinam Dharma Satyam Socham Shamadaya Kalena Balina Rajan Nakshate or Ayur Balam Smrita. What it means is the religion, truthfulness, the cleanliness, tolerance, mercy, duration of life, the physical strength, and memory will all diminish day by day because of the powerful influence of the age of Kali, that is Kala Yuga. So this is what, if any of it resonates with us today that we are dealing with, that means it's the prophecy that was, or prediction that was made in Bhagavad Gita about Kali Yuga is what is coming true. And taking this even further and further, there are more and more of these which have been listed out in Bhagavad Gita, which are going to be fulfilled or are in the process of getting fulfilled. For example, the wealth alone will be considered the sign of a man's good birth. Proper behavior and fine qualities. This is what we see. Anyone with wealth, instead of their behavior, how they treat other people, that is secondary versus how we treat people who have power, who have wealth. And the law and justice will be applied only on the basis of one's power. And that is what we see playing out today. A person will be judged unholy if he does not have money, and hypocrisy will be accepted as virtue. And that is absolutely true in the leadership we see today around us, and in the corporate world, in the world around us. And that is definitely happening. As the earth thus becomes crowded with a corrupt population, whoever among any of the social classes shows himself to be the strongest will gain power. And this is very well documented in Bhagavad Gita, and we see it today in our political plan, in the leadership, how corporates run the world, how business take priorities over the ecological sustenance of our planet. The citizens will suffer greatly from cold, wind, heat, rain, and snow. And that is speaking to the global warming that we are working with. In fact, being in California right now, there have been raging wildfires, and that is now becoming a recurring phenomena. There are hurricanes. This will further be tormented by quarrel, hunger, thirst, disease, and disease is what we are dealing with, and the severe anxiety that people are, in fact, in the moment going through COVID as we are feeling right now. And men will develop a hatred for each other over a few coins. Giving up all the friendly relations, they will be ready to lose their own lives and kill even their own relatives. And this is another quotation which is there in Bhagavad Gita, and unfortunately, that is the true reality of the world that we live in today. So with that in mind, if there's so much suffering in the world, because of how the spiritual cycle of the universe is playing out. The Kalki will be the next avatar of Supreme Being in the Kali Yuga. And that is again going back to one of the most prominent verse in Bhagavad Gita is Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanir Bhavti Bharata Abhyudanam Adharmasya Tadatmanam Srijameham Prityanaya Sadhuna Vinashaya Chadushkritam Dharam Sansthapanathay Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. Whenever there is decay of righteousness, O Bharata, and there is exaltation of unrighteousness, then I myself come forth for the protection of the good, for the destruction of evildoers, and for the sake of firmly establishing righteousness. I am born from age to age. So the God, the deity Rama, Krishna, and now in the Kali Yuga, we'll have Kalki Avatar, who will bring back the moral and the virtue to the world. And that will be the final incarnation of Vishnu, which appears in the Kali Yuga. He will appear with only chaos and evil and persecution prevails, and dharma has vanished. And he ends the Kali Yuga and to restart Satya Yuga and repeat the cycle and the another cycle of existence. And that is how we see the predictions, and some of it is playing out. Unfortunately, more of it we'll see in the future, but there is hope. And as Reverend Mark said, we have to just be nice to each other and respect and take care of each other. So definitely there's room for all of us to be respectful and kind to each other. So that's from the Hindu scriptures. The Kali Yuga is the time frame of that is so long, it's like hundred thousands of years. So for us to actually see whether it's going to happen or not, it's hard for us to claim, right? But Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapara Yuga, that time during which Rama and Krishna were born, have been documented in our scriptures, Ramayana and Mahabharata, and they have been physical evidence of it. So yes, they have been recognized, they have been fulfilled. But if I take it a step back and really think about prophecy, so as I've been saying throughout the talk, in our Sanatan Dharma, it's less about prophecies, but more about how the universal cycles have an impact on us as humans. We are part of the Earth. Earth is part of the solar system, which is part of the Milky Way, and so on and so forth. So we are all impacted by it. So how do we transcend and go beyond it so we can reduce our suffering and find peace? And taking that step is that your life is your own making. So as we talk about COVID, and I've been talking about the concept of karma. So your individual karma is one part, but there's a collective karma as well. So as you are born, in fact, so we talk about memory, but in Sanskrit, there are many, many kind of memories. We have articulate memories, inarticulate memories. We have genetic memory, we have physical memory, we have imaginations. So this is all is having an impact on us. From a single microbe that we were born as a life on this earth to where we are right now, everything is playing a role. So in fact, so that's how karma is playing a part. And the supreme being resides within all of us. It's within us. And how do we get access to it is what we need to find. And everyone is born with certain tendencies. We call it guna. We have sattva, we have rajas, we have tamas gunas. There are three kinds of gunas which actually together define how you are going to live your life and the karma of your previous lives. And then if there's no end of world prophecy in Hinduism, because it's a cyclic cycle and we continue to repeat from 4 yugas. But how do you conduct your life through virtue, righteousness, and in the service of Supreme Being is what our Hindu scriptures describe within them. And then we talk about yoga, but yoga has been so misrepresented in the Western culture. But yoga is 4 different kinds of yogas: bhakti, karma yoga, jnana yoga, and kriya yoga. And how do you attain the Supreme Being through any or all of these is to transcend your physical boundary and you can merge with the Supreme Being. So this is also all documented in Bhagavad. And then the final piece that about Kalki avatar that I mentioned in the second question, as the suffering increases and humanity loses its way, the Supreme Lord will take another avatar and reduce the suffering and the children. So these are like, you can claim them to be prophecies, but this is based on scientific, the cycles of our universe and how your life is your own making. And that's how we see that's how we see our lives, and that's how we conduct the lives in Sanatan Dharma.